The story begins in a small, dusty town where the main street is alive with the noise of an early morning market. Stalls overflow with vegetables, homemade goods, and cheap trinkets, and townspeople bustle about, bargaining loudly and exchanging gossip. Yet amid the cheerful chaos, a much darker scene unfolds on the raised wooden platform at the center of the square. Children, many barefoot and ragged, are being auctioned to local families. Some are orphans, some have been abandoned, and all carry the heavy burden of survival in a world that views them as commodities. The air is thick with tension, punctuated by the excited calls of auctioneers and the jeers of the crowd. Among the children stands Clara, a small, frail girl with a noticeable limp. Her clothes are torn, her face streaked with dirt, and her eyes wide with fear. She barely dares to raise her head as the auctioneer rattles off her age, abilities, and past misfortunes. Unlike some of the more robust children who command attention with loud cries or clever tricks, Clara makes no attempt to boast or please the audience. Her quiet demeanor and physical weakness make her an easy target for ridicule. The townspeople sneer at her limp, whispering that no one in their right mind would want her. Mothers shake their heads, men smirk, and children laugh cruelly from the sidelines. To them, Clara is nothing more than a liability, someone who will slow down chores and create trouble. Into this scene steps Samuel, a man in his 40s with an air of quiet dignity. He is not wealthy, his clothes are plain, his hands calloused, but there is something in his eyes that immediately sets him apart: compassion. While the crowd sizes up the children based on strength, obedience, and outward appearances, Samuel observes differently. He notices Clara's alert eyes, the way she carefully balances herself despite her limp, and the subtle grace in her movements. In her fear, he senses resilience. In her silence, he senses thoughtfulness. Where others see weakness, he sees potential. The auctioneer calls for bids, and the crowd erupts. A healthy boy is quickly bid up to a high price, and the audience cheers. Samuel waits patiently, observing Clara as the auction continues. He hears the mocking whispers, feels the weight of the crowd's judgment, yet his mind is made. Finally, when the auctioneer glances toward Clara and asks for a bid, Samuel raises his hand and quietly offers $2, the smallest sum required to claim her. The crowd gasps, then bursts into laughter. $2 for a crippled girl? Someone sneers. "What a fool!" another shouts. Even the auctioneer seems surprised at the modest offer for a child who seems doomed to hardship. Clara, unaware of the ridicule, looks up at Samuel with wide eyes, unsure if she should feel relief or fear. No one else in the crowd is bidding. Everyone has moved on to the stronger, healthier children. For Samuel, however, it is clear. Clara is worth far more than anyone can see at a glance. He ignores the laughter, the sneers, and the judgment of the townspeople. He steps forward, hands her a small piece of cloth to hold, and assures her quietly that she is safe now. It is a simple act, but it sets the foundation for the story's central themes: compassion, unseen worth, and the courage to go against public opinion. This opening scene does more than establish the characters. It sets the tone for the story's emotional journey. The audience witnesses societal cruelty and prejudice, contrasts it with Samuel's quiet kindness, and begins to feel empathy for Clara. The tension between appearance and true value is introduced immediately, foreshadowing the twists and moments of heroism that will follow. By the end of this part, readers are drawn in, eager to see what becomes of the girl whom the world deems worthless and the man who dares to believe in her potential. After the auction, Samuel walks Clara through the narrow, winding streets to his modest home on the outskirts of town. The house is simple, a small, wooden structure with a slanted roof and a few flower pots near the doorway, but it exudes warmth and order. There is no grandeur, no ostentation, only the quiet comfort of a home lived in with care. For Clara, who has spent the past few years dodging hunger and harsh words on the streets, This is an entirely new world. The walls smell faintly of wood polish and herbs. The floor creaks pleasantly underfoot. Samuel shows her to a small room with a thin mattress and a blanket, modest but clean. "This is yours now," he says softly. Clara hesitates at first, unsure how to respond. She is not used to being offered kindness without strings attached. Samuel's home life is humble but structured. He rises early, tends to chores, and prepares simple meals. He does not expect Clara to perform impossible tasks or prove herself immediately. Instead, he encourages her to explore the house, familiarize herself with routines, and learn at her own pace. At first, Clara is hesitant, cautious of making mistakes or drawing attention to her limp. She struggles with even basic tasks, sweeping the floor without spilling dust, carrying water from the well without tipping the bucket, but Samuel is patient. He quietly corrects her with gentle words rather than anger or ridicule. This patience is foreign to Clara, who has long been judged harshly for any misstep. Slowly, she begins to trust him, tentatively letting go of her fear. Despite Samuel's kindness, the outside world continues to mock them. Neighbors whisper when they see Clara walking slowly to fetch water. Children laugh cruelly when she stumbles or struggles to carry a basket of laundry. The town's judgment weighs heavily on Clara. She is painfully aware of the gap between how Samuel treats her and how the world views her. Yet Samuel's home becomes a sanctuary, a place where she can learn, grow, and heal without the constant threat of scorn. In this environment, her personality begins to emerge. She is observant, thoughtful, and quietly determined. She starts noticing small details others overlook, like how to balance the laundry basket better, which herbs can be used to clean stains, or which corners of the garden receive the most sunlight. Clara also begins forming a bond with Samuel that transcends the simple roles of guardian and child. He talks to her as an equal at times, asking her opinions on matters large and small, from what vegetables to plant in the garden to how to repair a broken chair. Clara begins to feel a sense of pride in contributing, even in small ways, to the household. The two share quiet moments of laughter over clumsy mistakes or clever solutions to minor problems. Samuel notices her subtle intelligence and resourcefulness, qualities that others in the town have failed to recognize. These small triumphs plant the seeds of self-confidence in Clara, hinting at the latent potential she possesses. In addition to household duties, Samuel encouraged Clara to pursue her own interests. She discovers an aptitude for sewing, arranging flowers, and caring for the small flock of chickens in the yard. Samuel celebrates her successes privately, never needing the townspeople's approval. For Clara, this sense of acceptance and encouragement is transformative. She begins to imagine a life beyond survival, one where her abilities, her intelligence, and even her frailty are assets rather than liabilities. By the end of this part, the story establishes a central theme: the value of unseen qualities. Clara's limp and fragile appearance do not define her worth. Samuel's faith and patience reveal that courage, kindness, and intelligence matter more than outward strength. Life at Samuel's home is not without challenges, but it provides the foundation for Clara's growth, resilience, and eventual heroism. The audience begins to sense that while the town laughs at the $2 purchase, Samuel has already gained a companion of immeasurable worth, a girl whose potential has only begun to be unlocked. As Clara settles into Samuel's home, moments of quiet allow her past to emerge, gradually revealing the hardships that shaped her. One afternoon, while sweeping the wooden floor and humming softly to herself, Clara pauses, her thoughts drifting back to a time before the auction, before Samuel's kindness entered her life. She remembers the small village she once called home, a place that seemed safe at first but quickly became a landscape of loss and sorrow. Clara's earliest memories are of her parents, who were loving but poor. They worked tirelessly, her father as a carpenter and her mother as a seamstress, doing whatever was necessary to provide food and warmth. The house she grew up in was small but filled with laughter, the kind of laughter that made even the harshest days bearable. Her parents taught her to be observant, to be clever in finding solutions to problems, and to show kindness even when others failed to reciprocate. It was these lessons that would later define Clara, though at the time, she barely understood the weight of the knowledge she was absorbing. Tragedy struck suddenly. One harsh winter, a fire consumed the village. Clara's parents died in the blaze, leaving her alone and vulnerable. She survived, but the accident left her with a limp, a constant reminder of that fateful night. The villagers offered little help. Their sympathy was shallow, and many assumed a child like her would not survive on her own. Clara was forced to navigate the world alone, learning to survive in alleyways, abandoned buildings, and dusty streets. Hunger and cold became constant companions, and the cruelty of strangers hardened her, even as it failed to extinguish the innate kindness her parents had instilled in her. Through these hardships, Clara developed remarkable resilience. She became resourceful, observing the habits of townsfolk to find discarded food or shelter. She learned to anticipate danger, avoiding aggressive children or hostile adults who saw her as weak prey. Her limp made her slower and vulnerable, but it also forced her to think creatively. She learned to use her intelligence and caution as tools for survival, cultivating skills that would one day prove invaluable. Despite her struggles, she never completely lost the empathy her parents had nurtured in her. Clara often shared scraps of food with other street children or helped animals that were injured or abandoned. The psychological impact of these experiences is profound. Clara carries a quiet wariness, a hesitance to trust adults, and a fear of rejection. She rarely speaks unless spoken to, and when she does, her voice is soft, careful, and deliberate. But beneath her cautious exterior lies a keen awareness of the world, a mind that analyzes, predicts, and adapts quickly. These traits, born of necessity, have made her far stronger than the townspeople give her credit for, though her physical weakness masks the power within her. Her backstory also explains her humility and reluctance to draw attention. She is painfully aware of how others perceive her, having been mocked and dismissed countless times. The memory of judgment, the cruel laughter, the dismissive gestures has shaped her, making her cautious yet observant. In Samuel's home, however, she begins to experience something radically different: respect and patience. The contrast between the world she survived in and the sanctuary Samuel provides allows the reader to understand the depth of Clara's character and why her eventual heroism will be so striking. By the Clara is established not only as a vulnerable girl, but also as a survivor with hidden strengths. Her limp and fragile appearance are contrasted with her intelligence, resourcefulness, and quiet courage. The audience begins to understand that while society sees her as a burden, she carries within her the tools to overcome adversity and protect those she cares about. This backstory lays the foundation for her development, showing that her past, though tragic, has prepared her to rise when the moment demands it. Life at Samuel's home slowly transforms Clara from a timid, wary child into someone discovering her own abilities. After enduring years of neglect and hardship, she now experiences the rare combination of safety and encouragement. It is in this environment that her small victories, almost imperceptible to outsiders, begin to shape her sense of self-worth. These small triumphs mark the first stages of her growth, showing that even the most overlooked individuals can achieve meaningful impact when given patience and opportunity. The first of these triumphs comes in the kitchen. Clara, though unpracticed, is eager to help Samuel prepare meals. At first, she struggles to carry water from the well without spilling it, and she fumbles with vegetables when chopping them for the evening stew. Her limp slows her movements, and her hands shake with inexperience. Samuel watches quietly, allowing her mistakes to occur without criticism. He offers gentle guidance, showing her how to balance the bucket on her hip, how to grip a knife safely, and how to time her movements to avoid spills. One evening, After several attempts, Clara successfully prepares a small meal entirely on her own. Though modest, this achievement fills her with quiet pride. Samuel smiles, acknowledging her effort, but never with patronizing praise. To Clara, the validation matters more than any public recognition. It reinforces that she is capable and valued. Her next triumph emerges in caring for Samuel's small flock of chickens. Clara observes their behavior closely, noticing which hens prefer certain nesting areas and which need extra care. She carefully tends to the birds, learning their rhythms and feeding them with precision. One day, she notices a hen that is ill and, following Samuel's earlier lessons, isolates it to prevent the disease from spreading. Samuel praises her initiative, and Clara feels a surge of accomplishment. These seemingly minor acts reinforce her belief in her own competence, gradually replacing the self-doubt that had dominated her life on the streets. Beyond chores, Clara begins to express her creativity and intelligence in ways that surprise Samuel. She discovers a talent for arranging flowers from the garden, creating small bouquets that brighten the home. She experiments with sewing, mending torn clothing for herself and Samuel. Each small success, each problem solved, is a step toward confidence. More importantly, these triumphs highlight a theme central to the story. Real value is often unseen. Clara's contributions are quiet and subtle, yet they significantly enhance the household's harmony and comfort. While the townspeople continue to mock her physical weakness, Samuel recognizes the profound worth of these small victories. Clara's triumphs are not just practical, they also include emotional growth. She begins to speak more freely with Samuel, sharing her observations and thoughts. She learns to ask questions, to express preferences, and even to gently assert herself when necessary. These moments are small, but they indicate a growing sense of agency. Samuel notices the change. The girl who once hesitated at the doorway now moves with cautious confidence, seeking to contribute rather than merely survive. Each small success also strengthens the bond between Clara and Samuel. She begins to trust him completely, revealing glimpses of her past and opening up emotionally in ways she had never done before. Samuel, in turn, sees her true potential. While outsiders may still dismiss her, he recognizes that her intelligence, diligence, and courage are quietly extraordinary. These small triumphs foreshadow the larger, more dramatic actions she will take later in the story, actions that will not only challenge the town's misconceptions but ultimately save Samuel's life. Clara has taken the first steps towards self-empowerment. She is no longer merely a fragile, timid girl. She is becoming resourceful, observant, and capable. The audience begins to understand that the same traits others overlook, resilience, intelligence, are precisely the qualities that will define her heroism. Through these small victories, the story reinforces its central message. True worth is often invisible until it is given the chance to shine. As weeks turn into months, Clara and Samuel's relationship deepens from a simple guardian and child dynamic into a profound friendship built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. Life at Samuel's home, once foreign and intimidating to Clara, has become a place of emotional safety where she can grow not only in skill but also in heart. This period of their story highlights the development of emotional bonds and the quiet ways trust is earned and nurtured, setting the stage for the pivotal events to come. At first, their interactions are practical and cautious. Samuel teaches Clara household chores, caring for animals, and basic life skills. Clara listens intently, eager to please but hesitant to overstep. Over time, however, Samuel begins to engage her in conversation beyond instructions. He asks her opinions on small matters, the arrangement of furniture, the best way to organize the pantry, or which vegetables might thrive in the garden. Clara, initially shy and reserved, slowly begins to speak up. Each time she offers a suggestion, Samuel treats it with sincerity, never dismissing her ideas. For Clara, this is transformative. Someone values her mind and perspective, not just her labor or appearance. Their friendship grows through shared routines and simple joys. In the mornings, Samuel and Clara fetch water from the well together, chatting about minor observations, a bird's nest in the tree, the change in weather, or a story from Samuel's own childhood. Afternoons are spent tending to the chickens or working in the garden, and evenings often involve quiet reflection or shared meals. These moments, though mundane, are filled with subtle warmth and connection. Clara begins to realize that friendship and trust are not forced or conditional. They are nurtured through patience, care, and mutual attention. Trust becomes a key theme during this period. Clara, having spent years surviving in a harsh world where adults could not be relied upon, is naturally wary. She tests Samuel's patience, deliberately dropping a basket or pretending to be clumsy to see his reaction. Each time, Samuel responds with calm understanding rather than anger. This teaches her that mistakes are not punishable and that trust is a two-way street. Gradually, Clara begins to share more about herself, small details about her past, her fears, and the loneliness she felt on the streets. Samuel listens without judgment, offering comfort when necessary and advice when requested. Through these exchanges, Clara experiences the rare gift of unconditional acceptance. In addition to trust, respect forms another layer of their growing bond. Samuel treats Clara as capable and intelligent, encouraging her to make choices and take initiative within the household. For instance, he asks her to organize the supplies for the chickens or decide which vegetables to plant. Clara approaches these tasks with care and enthusiasm, feeling a sense of ownership and responsibility that she has never experienced before. These moments allow her confidence to grow organically, reinforcing her belief in her own abilities. The friendship also reveals Clara's protective instincts and emotional intelligence. She begins noticing Samuel's moods and small habits, learning when he needs company, when he seeks quiet, and when he might need assistance without asking. In turn, Samuel notices her attentiveness and begins relying on her subtly, not just for household tasks but for emotional support. This mutual recognition of capability and care cements a deep connection that will be crucial when they face danger in later parts of the story. Clara is no longer merely a timid, uncertain child living under Samuel's care. She has become a trusted companion and friend, someone whose opinions, intelligence, and emotional insight Samuel values. Their growing friendship establishes a foundation of loyalty, empathy, and mutual respect that will drive the narrative forward. The audience begins to sense that Clara's quiet strength and intuition are not only shaping her character, but are also preparing her to rise to a critical challenge that will ultimately define her true worth. Life in Samuel's quiet home is a fragile sanctuary, but the outside world does not remain idle. In Part 6, tension escalates as the town's underlying hostility and envy towards Samuel begin to surface. Samuel, though kind and cautious, has long been the subject of gossip. His choice to take in Clara, a frail and limping girl, has been ridiculed by townspeople as foolishness. While Samuel is unconcerned with their opinions, the community's resentment starts manifesting in more direct ways, threatening his livelihood and testing the stability of the household. The first signs of trouble appear subtly. Neighbors who once ignored him begin making pointed remarks. They criticize his methods of farming, question his financial decisions, and insinuate that Clara is a burden rather than an asset. Children in the town taunt her when she passes by, and merchants hesitate to trade with Samuel, citing peculiarities in his household. While these actions are indirect, they create an undercurrent of tension that foreshadows the danger to come. Samuel, aware of these whispers, remains calm and steadfast. He understands that these small acts of malice, though seemingly insignificant, have the potential to escalate if left unchecked. The real threat emerges when a group of opportunistic townsfolk targets Samuel's property. Perhaps it is a rival farmer envious of Samuel's modest success, or a gang of local troublemakers looking for an easy score. They see Clara's presence as evidence of vulnerability, interpreting Samuel's kindness as weakness. The story might depict this through incidents such as stolen livestock, attempts to sabotage his crops, or confrontations at the marketplace. The narrative emphasizes the precariousness of Samuel's situation. He is alone, physically capable but morally principled, and his wealth is modest. The community's derision has emboldened those who see opportunity in exploiting him. Clara, though still young and physically limited by her limp, begins to notice these threats. Her observations demonstrate the intelligence and perceptiveness Samuel has nurtured in her. She notices patterns others overlook, the way the rival farmer glances covetously at Samuel's property, the suspicious behavior of strangers in the marketplace, or subtle signs of danger near the homestead. While Samuel is confident in his ability to handle physical threats, Clara recognizes the vulnerabilities that are not immediately visible. This sets the stage for her eventual heroism. She sees what Samuel cannot, a testament to her heightened awareness and survival instincts developed during her harsh early life. The narrative tension in this part is amplified by the town's collective attitude. They continue to mock Clara and Samuel publicly, treating any warnings or minor incidents with ridicule. Their laughter and dismissal contrast sharply with the real danger looming, emphasizing a central theme. Appearances are deceptive. What seems harmless or trivial to the townspeople masks a genuine risk to Samuel's safety. The story builds suspense as readers begin to sense that the moment of crisis is imminent, yet Clara's potential as a savior remains hidden from the community. Samuel himself remains calm, relying on his experience, integrity, and strength, but the cumulative pressure starts to weigh on him. He begins to feel the isolation of standing against a community that misunderstands and ridicules him. This emotional strain deepens the narrative, highlighting the stakes, not only physical danger but also the emotional vulnerability, of trusting in a world that often rewards cruelty and derision. Clara, quietly observing and learning, is positioned as both witness and eventual agent of change. The audience is fully aware of the impending crisis. Samuel's life is threatened not only by opportunistic townsfolk, but also by the limitations imposed by societal prejudice and underestimation of Clara. This section sets up the climax, where Clara's intelligence, courage, and loyalty will be tested. The tension between public perception and hidden capability prepares the reader for the dramatic turning point in which the seemingly powerless girl will play the pivotal role in saving the man who believed in her when no one else did. The tension that has been quietly building in Samuel's life finally reaches a critical point as Clara steps into a role that will define her courage and ingenuity. While Samuel remains strong and capable in physical matters, Clara's unique combination of intelligence, observation, and street-honed instincts becomes indispensable. This is the moment where her previously unnoticed abilities transform into decisive action, revealing the hidden strength that Samuel recognized long ago. The threat to Samuel escalates in a tangible way. Perhaps a group of thieves targets his property during the night, planning to steal supplies or harm him. Or perhaps a natural disaster like a sudden flood, fire, or storm puts Samuel at risk when he is away or distracted. Whatever the challenge, the situation is urgent and dangerous, far beyond what Clara has faced within the safety of the home. While most townspeople continue to underestimate both Samuel and Clara, the story emphasizes that survival will require courage, quick thinking, and unconventional problem-solving. Clara immediately notices signs that Samuel either overlooks or underestimates. Her years on the streets have taught her to detect subtle cues, footsteps in the dark, suspicious shadows, or a broken latch signaling intrusion. Unlike Samuel, whose focus is divided between routine tasks and external threats, Clara's attention to detail allows her to anticipate danger before it strikes. She realizes that Samuel's physical strength alone cannot guarantee safety. Action must be taken strategically, leveraging observation, cunning, and timing. Acting decisively, Clara devises a plan. Drawing on her street-learned resourcefulness, she uses clever tactics to prevent harm. Perhaps she alerts Samuel in time, sets a diversion, or uses her knowledge of the property to create a safe escape route or trap the intruders. Each step is calculated, showing both bravery and intelligence. Importantly, Clara's physical limitation, the limp, does not hinder her effectiveness. Instead, the story frames her limitation as secondary to her mental acuity, emphasizing the theme that courage and value are not defined solely by physical strength. The execution of Clara's plan is tense and suspenseful. The story focuses on her internal thought process, highlighting how she balances fear with logic, compassion with necessity, and stealth with decisiveness. Her actions are precise. She moves quietly, communicates with Samuel without alerting the threat, and anticipates the intruder's reactions. The narrative can include vivid descriptions of her movements, the subtle sounds of the night, and the heightened sensory awareness that allows her to act effectively under pressure. Through this, the reader experiences the intensity of the moment alongside Clara. Her intervention ultimately saves Samuel from imminent danger. Perhaps she prevents a direct attack, ensures the safety of his property, or navigates him out of harm's way. The climax of this part is both physical and emotional. Clara's bravery directly impacts Samuel's survival, validating his earlier judgment in believing in her when no one else did. The contrast is striking. The same townspeople who mocked her weakness and laughed at Samuel. $2 investment now witnessed the profound consequences of underestimating her. This turning point establishes Clara as a true heroine. Her intelligence, courage, and loyalty are now fully visible, providing a powerful counterpoint to the town's superficial judgment. Samuel, already proud and appreciative, experiences a deep sense of relief and admiration. Clara's actions not only resolve the immediate threat, but also solidify the central theme of the story, that real worth often lies beneath the surface and may reveal itself in the most critical moments. By the narrative tension begins to shift from danger to recognition and transformation. Clara has proven herself not just to Samuel but implicitly to the audience, setting up the story as next phase. The townspeople's realization and the broader acknowledgement of her courage and value represents the emotional and narrative climax of the story, where Clara's courage and intelligence directly intersect with Samuel's survival, proving the depth of her value. After all the small triumphs, trust-building, and subtle acts of observation, this is the moment where Clara's true heroism is undeniable, not just to Samuel, but to the townspeople who have long mocked her. The stakes are high, the tension palpable, and the consequences life-altering. The scenario begins with an immediate threat to Samuel's life. Perhaps the group of thieves or troublemakers has grown bolder, attempting a more direct assault on Samuel's property. Or, alternatively, a sudden natural disaster of fire, collapsing structure, or flash flood strikes while Samuel is engaged elsewhere, leaving him vulnerable. Whatever the form, the danger is both imminent and potentially fatal. Samuel, while strong and capable, is caught off guard, relying solely on his physical strength and instinct. Clara, however, sees what he cannot: the subtle signs, the dangerous gaps, the timing of the threat. Clara acts quickly, and the story emphasizes her decisiveness. She knows there is no time to hesitate. Hesitation could cost Samuel his life. Drawing on her street-honed instincts, she maneuvers strategically, avoiding panic, using her knowledge of the environment and applying every lesson Samuel has taught her. For instance, she might guide him toward safety through hidden paths, block or misdirect the attackers, or use clever traps and diversions to neutralize the threat. Every movement she makes is precise and intentional, demonstrating her intelligence, adaptability, and courage. Her limp, once perceived as a weakness, becomes irrelevant in the face of her strategic thinking and unwavering resolve. The tension reaches its peak as Samuel finds himself in immediate danger, perhaps cornered, injured, or about to be overpowered. Clara's intervention is swift and effective. She shouts a warning, manipulates the environment to her advantage, or physically aids Samuel, ensuring he avoids fatal harm. The narrative emphasizes not just the action but the emotional stakes. Samuel's life hangs in the balance. Clara's abilities are tested under extreme pressure, and the outcome will determine how both characters and the town will view her. When Samuel is finally safe, the relief is overwhelming. The narrative can linger on the contrast between the chaos of the danger and the calm after resolution. Samuel's gratitude is immediate and profound, conveyed through gestures, words, or silent acknowledgement. Clara's own relief is tempered by exhaustion but also by pride. She has proven that her worth is far greater than the town ever imagined. This moment crystallizes the story's central theme, that true value is often hidden beneath the surface and revealed only in critical moments of action and courage. The townspeople, who had mocked both Samuel and Clara for what they saw as folly, are now confronted with undeniable evidence of her heroism. They witness her bravery, intelligence, and resourcefulness firsthand. The irony is stark. The girl they once ridiculed for her limp is the very one who saved a man they considered foolish for taking her in. Their laughter fades, replaced by astonishment, respect, and a dawning recognition of the error in their judgment. Emotionally, this scene strengthens the bond between Clara and Samuel. Samuel's belief in her abilities is validated. He no longer sees her merely as a child in need of care, but as an equal partner in survival and life. Clara, meanwhile, gains confidence in her own worth, realizing that her intelligence, courage, and loyalty are not just valued by Samuel but have tangible, life-saving impact. This recognition marks a pivotal turning point in her development, transforming her from a timid, cautious girl into a confident and capable heroine. The immediate danger has passed, but the ramifications are clear. Clara has proven herself to be indispensable, not only to Samuel but also to the broader community. The story sets the stage for where recognition, transformation, and social redemption take center stage, showing the town and the audience that underestimated individuals can hold remarkable power and value. Following the life-saving events, the atmosphere of the town undergoes a gradual yet profound transformation. The townspeople who once mocked Samuel and Clara are forced to confront their misjudgments, and the story shifts from tension to acknowledgement, highlighting themes of redemption, respect, and the reevaluation of worth. Part 9 explores the social and emotional repercussions of Clara's heroism, showing how courage and intelligence can alter public perception and foster a sense of community. Word of Clara's bravery spreads quickly. Those who witnessed her actions firsthand recount the story to neighbors, embellishing it slightly in the retelling, but never altering the essential truth. The frail, limping girl who everyone dismissed saved Samuel's life. The narrative captures the mix of astonishment and shame in the townspeople. Men who laughed at Samuel's $2 investment now feel a sting of regret. Children who mocked Clara's limp and clumsiness look on with awe and newfound respect. Even those who did not witness the event directly begin to hear rumors and slowly realize that their assumptions about Clara were not only cruel but also dangerously inaccurate. The transformation is both external and internal. Externally, the townspeople begin to show visible gestures of respect toward Clara and Samuel. They nod politely when they see her, offer small tokens of acknowledgement, and in some cases, apologize for past ridicule. Samuel, meanwhile, maintains his quiet dignity, accepting these gestures without arrogance or malice. The focus remains on Clara's actions and character rather than Samuel's vindication. reinforcing the story's theme that true heroism comes from deeds, not recognition. Internally, the townspeople's perceptions shift. They begin to recognize that courage and value are not always visible. Clara's limp and frail appearance had led them to underestimate her for years, but now they see that intelligence, loyalty, and determination can outweigh physical limitations. The narrative may depict individuals reflecting on their own biases. Perhaps a mother silently recalling how she dismissed Clara's attempts to help in the market, or a merchant realizing that his assumptions about ability were flawed. This moment of introspection adds depth to the story, showing that transformation is not just social but moral. Clara herself begins to feel the tangible effects of this recognition. The world she once navigated with fear and self-doubt now opens to her in new ways. She receives small opportunities to participate more fully in community life, helping at the market, assisting neighbors, or being consulted in minor matters that require judgment and intelligence. Each act of acknowledgement reinforces her growing self-confidence and sense of belonging. The contrast between her life before Samuel's care and her current acceptance by the town underscores the dramatic change that both nurture and opportunity can achieve. The story also explores Samuel's quiet satisfaction in this transformation. He never sought recognition for his actions or for taking Clara in, but witnessing the town's changed attitude validates his belief in the girl's potential. He understands that while he raised her with patience, kindness, and guidance, it was her courage and intelligence that earned her and him self-respect in the eyes of the community. Their relationship has evolved. Clara is no longer simply a dependent child, but a trusted companion whose abilities are recognized publicly for the first time. The town's transformation is gradual and realistic. Not everyone changes instantly. Some continue to harbor skepticism or envy, providing subtle tension and depth to the social dynamics. However, the overall trajectory is clear. Clara's actions have disrupted long-held prejudices and inspired a re-evaluation of what it means to be valuable, courageous, and worthy of respect. The stage is set for the story's conclusion. Clara has not only proven her heroism, but has also catalyzed a broader moral and social shift. The townspeople now see her not as the limping girl, but as a capable, courageous individual whose worth is undeniable. This recognition paves the way forward. Resolution, hope, and lasting transformation bring the story to a satisfying close. In the final part of the story, the narrative moves from the climax of danger and the recognition of Clara's heroism to a satisfying resolution that emphasizes hope, transformation, and enduring bonds. Part 10 focuses on the aftermath of Clara's brave actions, showing how her life, Samuel's life, and the town itself have been irrevocably changed for the better. It provides emotional closure while reinforcing the story's central themes: the value of unseen strengths, the power of kindness, and the transformative potential of trust and courage. With the immediate threat gone and the townspeople slowly coming to terms with their previous misjudgments, Clara's place in the community is solidified. The girl who was once mocked for her limp and frailty is now viewed with admiration and respect. She is no longer merely Samuel's responsibility. She has become a symbol of resilience, intelligence, and courage. Townspeople, from merchants to children, approach her differently now, some seeking advice, others offering friendship or small tokens of appreciation. The contrast between her life before and after the crisis underscores the story's moral. Appearances can be deceiving, and true worth is often revealed through actions rather than superficial judgments. Clara's personal growth is central to this resolution. She moves through the town with a newfound confidence, her limp no longer defining her presence or limiting her sense of agency. She participates in tasks that were previously denied to her, such as helping at the market, assisting neighbors with daily chores, or guiding children who have faced similar hardships. Each of these activities reinforces her emerging identity as a capable, trusted, and valued individual. Clara understands, more profoundly than ever, that her intelligence, courage, and loyalty are assets qualities that allowed her not only to survive, but to thrive. Samuel's role in this resolution is equally important. Though the townspeople's newfound respect for Clara highlights her heroism, Samuel's quiet mentorship and steadfast belief in her abilities are acknowledged subtly yet powerfully. He reflects on the journey that began with a simple $2 bid, realizing that the greatest reward was not societal approval, but the companionship, trust, and shared life he now enjoys with Clara. Their bond, strengthened through mutual respect and shared experiences, stands as a testament to the story's theme that genuine relationships are built on belief, patience, and care, rather than status or appearance. The town itself undergoes a subtle but meaningful transformation. Individuals who once judged superficially begin to question other prejudices, considering the hidden potential in people who may seem weak, different, or unconventional. This shift is not universal. Some remain skeptical, but the overall community atmosphere becomes one of cautious respect and emerging inclusivity. Clara's story acts as a catalyst, showing that courage and intelligence often reside where least expected, and that honoring such qualities benefits everyone. Emotionally, the resolution is uplifting. Clara and Samuel enjoy quiet moments together in their home, reflecting on the journey that brought them here. There is laughter, shared stories, and the comfort of knowing that they have not only survived hardship, but have found a sense of family and belonging. Clara is no longer a victim of circumstance, but a young heroine whose choices and abilities shape the outcome of events. Samuel's satisfaction is measured not in recognition or accolades, but in the knowledge that he believed in someone when no one else did, and that his trust was rewarded in the most profound way. The story closes with a tone of hope and enduring possibility. Clara's journey from a timid, limping girl to a courageous, intelligent young woman demonstrates the transformative power of kindness, patience, and belief in others. Samuel and Clara, now inseparable companions, face the future together with confidence, ready to meet life's challenges with resourcefulness and mutual support. The narrative leaves the audience with the satisfying realization that acts of compassion, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant at first, can ripple outward, creating profound and lasting change. The arc is complete. Danger has been overcome, recognition and respect are earned, and hope for the future is firmly established. The story concludes as a testament to resilience, the unseen value of individuals, and the enduring power of trust and courage to reshape lives.